I've kind of been thinking about recently the struggle with being frustrated and the struggle of letting things go and accepting things for what they are. This is something that is really hard to kind of wrap our brains and our minds and our emotions around, because frustration is such a heavy thing to deal with. It's right after peace and it's right before anger, and it's that weird in between when we don't want to break, but we feel like we kind of already have. And I've recently been kind of struggling with this being frustrated for things that I can't control, for things that I feel like are my fault. But I think as humans, we sometimes forget to realize that frustration is, in fact, a human emotion. We get frustrated over so many things that we do and so many decisions that our human brain makes. And it's kind of hard for us to not get stuck into that once we already get into that emotion of frustration, because that is a really, really difficult emotion to overcome. And it's really difficult to not jump straight into anger and aggressiveness after feeling frustrated. And I really am a person that doesn't like to be away from my peace and be away from the peaceful feeling inside of me. But I know living in this world and dealing with things, hard things and stressful things, and dealing with people sometimes, that frustration is an emotion that I have to deal with and is an emotion that I have to overcome. Just like I know so many of you don't want to do that. Like, we don't want to be uncomfortable. We don't want to deal with anger and frustration, but it's just something that as humans, it's kind of what we have to do. You got to go inside you and you have to sit with it and you have to kind of see what it is about this situation or this person or this thing or this day or this environment that's making you so frustrated. Does it have to do with old conditioning? Does it have to do with something you're afraid of in the future? Does it have to do with something that you just overcame and now it's coming back up? Does it have to do with a person that brings you a lot of trauma and this other person reminds you of them? What is it about it that takes us out of that peaceful state that we live in, or that peaceful state we want to live in? There's a difference between sitting with your emotions and letting it go than sitting with it and letting it take over you. Sitting in that uncomfortableness where you want to crawl out of your skin and you just want to crawl out of your skin and, I don't know, just run away. Get sitting in it and letting it consume you and seeing how you respond with this frustration changes how you respond to everything and changes what you know about yourself. I've learned a lot recently while sitting with my emotions that it really doesn't last that long. We kind of do this thing, and something that I used to do a lot was I wasn't really ever a person to get angry, but I would get frustrated a lot, and I would get stressed out, and I would get sad about a lot of things. Instead of sitting with it, I used to sit with it, but instead of letting it consume me, I would run away, and I would run with it. I would actively run with it and take it on through my days, through my weeks, into my conversations, into my activities. Like, I would just let it keep going, and I would try to push it down, and it would just never really, it would resolve eventually, because it has to, but it would take a long time, and it would take a lot more suffering than if I just sat with it in this really ugly moment for 20 minutes, for 10 minutes, for 5 minutes. You'll be surprised how fast, if you sit with it and you really, 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 really sit with it, you'll be surprised with how fast it disperses and how fast it is released from you. Because you're letting that emotion go into you and then go out of you, and you're not fighting it. Fighting frustration, fighting sadness, fighting anger is what prevents you from letting things go and is what prevents you from moving on. But if you just sit with that ickiness and you sit with that uncomfortability, everything starts to feel a little bit lighter. And you start to realize more about yourself that you never really realized before. You start to realize, oh, because I sat with it, because I felt this emotion, I realized what initially made me frustrated. That probably doesn't make too much sense. Basically, if you sit with it long enough and you sit with it and you let it pass through you, you understand about what initially made you so mad, what initially about in the situation or in that conversation or in that experience made you so frustrated and so irritated. You understand that, and you can kind of apply it to the next time you feel frustrated. In this world, we are never going to not be faced with emotions and problems and stressful situations because the world isn't perfect and people aren't perfect. I'm definitely not perfect. You're not perfect. The person you think is perfect and the person you think has it all figured out, I promise you, does not. They're living in the same world as you, and they are going through things that are unique to them. Just because it looks like somebody has it all figured out on social media or has it all figured out on Instagram or TikTok, or even like in your workplace, at school, in a class, in a friend group, just because it looks like somebody has it figured out, it does not mean that they do, and it does not mean that they're not struggling, and it does not mean that they don't get frustrated just like you, or they don't get angry, or they don't get sad, or they don't have moments where they feel really alone. And I kind of struggled with that before. I used to think that a lot of my friends or a lot of people that I knew or a lot of the things I saw online, I was like, wow, their life is so good, and everything comes so easy to them, and everything just works out in their favor. But I didn't really ever realize until now that isn't true. That is not true. It's beautiful to watch yourself go through difficult things and then overcome it, and watch yourself go through it and then watch yourself overcome what you were so afraid of before. If you can kind of find yourself in the people that you think are perfect, in the people that you put on a pedestal, you figure out that, life isn't perfect, and it's not easy on one person. Nobody has it all figured out. Nobody knows what they're doing. We really think we know what we're doing. We might have a plan. We really think we know what the future has in store. You think other people know what their future has in store, but none of us really know. We never know. Being frustrated is frustrating, and it's not easy. But if you go inside you and you feel what that feels like, if you sit with it, and if you really, really, really sit with it, go inside and see what it is that made you frustrated in the first place, you're gonna understand more about yourself, and it's gonna make all the times when you have to deal with that again a lot easier. You don't want it, like I talked about in my last video, you don't want that emotion, that strong emotion that you're feeling that brought you down. You don't want that to harm your intentions and to make your intentions for the day sticky. That feeling inside you that you hate so much, you don't want other people to deal with that. So it's kind of a challenge that we have to overcome. But if you feel that emotion and you let it go, I promise you that you'll understand yourself better, and you'll find ways to cope with it better, and it does get easier. Sitting with the emotions has really, really helped me just stay present. There's going to be days that are easy, or you might just be so happy, and you might not really have any strong, like, negative emotions. But then there's going to be days where all you feel is frustration, and all you feel is anger, and all you feel is stress, and all you feel is sadness. And you're really going to want to let that take over you, but you shouldn't. Because if you let that take over you, then you're letting it take over your peace, and you're letting it take over your hope and your happiness and your joy in the future, and you don't want to carry that with you. Our minds and emotions only have the power that we give it. If you don't give it the power over you, if you don't give it that control, then it won't take over you. You can really change your mindset and your attitude towards things if you get in touch with your emotions. And by getting in touch with your emotions, I mean going into yourself and feeling them for what they are. Not changing that emotion, feeling it, and understanding what that emotion is. And letting it consume you just for a moment. And then finding ways to let it go. Maybe taking some deep breaths, shaking it out. Maybe put on a good song, journal, write it out, do some meditation, do some stretching. Finding ways to release it instead of latching onto it and distracting yourself from it is the only way you're going to let that emotion pass through you. And it's okay to be not okay, and it's okay to have bad days, and it's okay to be human, and it's okay to slip up, and it's okay to be angry, and it's okay to be frustrated, and it's okay to be sad, but it's also okay to let it pass through you, and it's okay to not let your mind and your emotions take control over you, and it's okay to say no to people, and it's okay to not let situations change you. Okay to not let what that person spent 3 seconds saying to you change the way that you move and change the way you live for the next 3 hours. It's okay to feel it and let it go, and it's okay just to let it pass through you. A good way to get rid of frustration and heavy emotions is to listen to some good music. So that is why we have Wellness with Wallows. Wellness with Wallows, if you haven't heard before, is my little segment dedicated to my favorite music and music in general. It's dedicated to Wallows because they changed the way I listened to music, changed the way that I understood the world and understood myself, and helped me kind of deal with all these negative emotions that we talked about today and how I kind of let it go. And this channel is all about love and light, and music has an invisible way to bring love and light into the world. And I just like talking about music, and I hope that through this segment, you guys kind of discover new music or just get excited about music that we talk about. So the song I would like to talk about today is Role Models' most recent single, High Hopes 3000. I started listening to Role Model not too long ago, probably about 6 months ago. I really got into his music. I don't know if you necessarily would kind of call him country. It's weird because his music is kind of like pop country, but I've never really liked country, so I'm kind of shocked that I've kind of been so drawn towards his music. But then again, I think it's that quality in his music that draws me towards it, because it's just like an underlying factor of happiness and hope and love. And really excited for his next release called Chuck Timely and the Hourglass, coming out on August 7th. This song that I'm going to be talking about today is called High Hopes 3000. It's a lead single from his upcoming album, and it came out a couple weeks ago, I think. But it's a really fun song, and it is kind of country. It makes me want to buy cowgirl boots and dance around on a farm and everything, or in a barn, or join a rodeo. I don't know. It's so upbeat, and it's so fun. Tucker kind of asks a big question in this song, and that is, does love come around, or does one come around to it? And that is a big question. And do we even know? Who kind of knows? It kind of depends on how you view it. But I believe that High Hopes 3000 is a love letter to love and a love letter to having hope in love and finding your person. I think hope is a beautiful thing. I think trust is a beautiful thing. I think love is a beautiful thing. And it's just a fun little song taking on a heavy topic, but a fun little song that just has so much hope and so much joy in it, and kind of like silliness and excitement, and it just, I don't know, it just fills me up with so much joy, and it's such a good song. I'm just really excited for what Tucker / role model / Chuck Timely is doing, and I'm really excited to see what this next era brings him. It made me appreciate new music, made me appreciate country, I guess, made me just appreciate new genres, and yeah, it's just really cool. Music is such a cool thing. Artists do a really good job at bringing us out of heavy emotions and bringing us into joy and bringing us out of darkness and into the light through their art and through their words and their songs and what they do. And I believe Role Model is one of those artists. High Hopes 3000, right away I was like, this is the song of the summer, because it is just so fun, and it's just something that I know I needed at this time in my life. We just want to be filled with hope, and hope is one of the best things to experience in the world. High Hopes 3000. You know, we can always use hope. We can always use hope in the world, and we can always use love in the world. Again, I can't play this song for copyright reasons, but I encourage you all to go listen to it and to check it out and to check out more of Role Model's music. And if you like it, pre-save his album. I know I'm super excited. And yeah, that's it for Wellness with Wallows today. So today, just remember that whatever emotions you feel today is valid, and whatever you're experiencing today, feel those emotions, sit with it, let it pass through you, don't latch onto it, and you're gonna get through it, and everything is gonna be okay. And you're doing a great job, and I'm here for you always.